Hi there. Welcome back to another episode of the Help I Am Artist podcast. Are you a passionate artist but you have trouble selling your art? Does the word marketing or sales leave you paralyzed and overwhelmed? Then this podcast is for you. Philip Dubely is a Swiss businessman and entrepreneur who loves teaching artists practical steps about reaching your potential art audience, connecting with them, and selling your art. I know you'll enjoy our conversation as much as I did, so let's get started. Well, welcome, Philip, to my Help I'm Artist podcast. We're recording here in Switzerland.
Yes.
So, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I am still 30 years old.
Okay.
And I live pretty much in the center of Switzerland together with my wife and my beautiful two daughters.
Okay.
They're 3 and 1 years old. What else? I like business and arts. And especially to combine them. And I'm excited to talk about this with you.
This is the right podcast because it's
That's
called
right.
Help I'm Artist. So
That's
I'm sure you'll be able to
right.
help. What do you like the most about living in Switzerland?
There's a lot. I mean, I really enjoy this country. I was born and raised here, still living here. Probably it's the countryside and also the closeness. Like you don't have to drive far to get everywhere. And it's also the organizational behavior. So everything is very well organized.
And you like that?
I like that a lot. Yeah. If any turmoil, getting anything done goes very quick, very fast.
You're a businessman, entrepreneur.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurship? What do you do?
Yeah, at this point, I have two main jobs. First of all, I have my own company that I started about 2 years ago, which is a perfume company, which originated really from an idea, from a need I personally had. I was a bit annoyed about the perfume industry, because perfumes, first of all, are very expensive, and second of all, they are made with not with natural ingredients. And so I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have a perfume that is affordable and at the same time only consists of natural ingredients? And that's how I started this company. And on the other hand, I work for a bigger company in the beverage industry, basically having the task to develop new drinks. Alcohol-free drinks. We enjoy this a lot, small team, but really can do a lot, have a lot of freedom and talk about innovation and launching new products.
Well, we want to talk art because this is an art podcast and
Yes.
especially helping artists grow in their careers, grow in their art business.
Yeah.
What do you have with art? Why are you interested in helping artists?
Well, personally, I've always liked art, especially paintings from various directions. But I think art is a very fascinating field. And then through one or two friends, I really got more into the arts and found out that there is really a connection that can be made, and there is really a need to combine these two fields of arts and business. And that's how I got into it more and more.
And can you describe the problem that you see, or describe the challenge that lies there with artists and how you can build that bridge or solve the problem?
I think there are several challenges, but I think first and foremost, what I recognize is that artists oftentimes they don't value the business side as much as they could. Also, they think it's like a black hole, so they think it's very different to what they do because it's more numbers maybe, that's what they think at least. It's very, very rational, very maybe plain, not too exciting. It's maybe also the courses they had at school that I didn't like. So there is a lot of prejudice also there. With that, I think there is an obstacle to be overcome to really go into this, but what I found is it's not that big, this obstacle, and a lot of artists, they bring so much with them, especially the creative thinking, that if they can really embed this in the business side, they will rock the business side as well. But I think that the number one issue really is to give business a priority and to allow yourself to to recognize that this is an important side. And if this can be done, there is a lot of potential there.
And you give seminars to artists about business and about marketing. What are some of the responses that you are facing? Because they come out of the mindset, business, we leave that to someone else, or I just want to make my art, let me just paint or draw or sculpt.
I get very positive responses because I like to challenge people, and I say to them, look, as good as your art is, in the end, if you cannot sell it, you're not happy. That leaves us with the question, how can we sell it? And then their ears are open, their minds are very, very open. They are actually very, very hungry to get to know it. And so I face very positive reaction, very hungry people to get deeper into this field. That's also why I like to teach it, because it's really it's exciting, and people start to see the potential that they really have with their work. I think it also gives them even a new perspective to what they're doing and appreciate their work even more, because I tell them, look, whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter if you're coming from sculpting, painting, writing. There are people out there that can benefit, that are appreciating, valuing, are impressed by can be inspired by your work. And you are really allowed to charge something for it. I think that's also an important point. Sometimes people think they should give it away for free. I don't think you can do that, but there is a place for really charging for something, and a price actually it's only a sign for a value, and what you do is valuable, so give it a price.
It's actually possible to make money with art?
Absolutely. I think there are so many possibilities. And also don't be afraid of putting a high price tag, because there are people money is never a problem. I think there is so much money on the planet, and there are so many people willing to invest and spend their money. So I think it's more about finding these people, making your products and your offering, your services known to your audience, make sure they understand what you're doing, and really awaken a desire in them to have this thing or this service or your piece of art.
And then what would be the first step?
Yeah, I think I would say my three biggest or most important steps is really, the first is make business a priority. So it's not only about making your art, but also making business, make it really a priority. Learn about it, learn more about it, connect with people that are in the business world, get inspiration, think about different ways of marketing, of communication. So really make it a priority.
Because I see the artists that are listening, they're alone in their studios.
Yep.
They have no idea. They're working, they're making beautiful paintings, but the paintings stack up against in their ateliers, and they have no idea how to make that step to the audience to find out more about business. What would be a very hands-on thing, a tip where they could go to learn more? They can't all go and get an MBA in business. What would be a sizable step for them to take?
That's a good question, but really creatively think about where the business people, for example, are. And try to connect with them. So I'm very hands-on with these things. I try out don't be afraid to fail. Just maybe going to university just for a day, for example, hang out there, go to business professors. They're usually very well connected, and ask them, hey, look, I'm doing this, you're doing that. How can we combine this? Can you give me an advice on that? That would be very good. Or just look out for networking events. For example, just Google it one time for your region. I'm sure wherever you are in the world, you have these business hubs. There are a lot of co-working spaces, for example, that you can go to and just take your time, hang out with people and connect and sort of mingle your way a little bit through the world.
And also, don't you think it's more a mentality that you have to realize the importance of the business side, that it's not just painting and making your art, but actually coming out of your comfort zone and trying to make those connections and trying to to join the dots actually between your art and your art buyer. Because who buys art? Can you explain? Do you have an idea of an art consumer, where they are?
I think they're everywhere, and it can be anyone. So that's really something. It's a good point that you make. I think it's really about making this a priority, and also maybe be very practical. If you have 5 days, then paint for 3 days, and say like Tuesday and Wednesday are my business days. Whatever I do there at the beginning, it's maybe very wishy-washy, you don't know, but you have your priority set and say, okay, first Tuesday I Google, second Wednesday I go to a networking event, I try to connect with people, and you really leave this like almost set in stone that it's really a 60-40, for example. It can be 80-20, but really put it in your schedule to make business and to connect. And I think to whomever you talk, like, you bring yourself with you, and you will realize that people are interested in your art, and you will be surprised in what sort of people can be potential buyers.
I speak to many artists and they say, well, my art speaks for itself. I don't have to speak about my art. Have you found that too with artists? That
I think that can be. I see where they're coming from. Oftentimes it's very clear for us what we are doing, because we're spending 24 hours almost thinking about what we're doing. But oftentimes the other people are thinking maybe 5 minutes. They come in front of a painting and maybe it doesn't speak for itself. So it's not something that you should be afraid of, or it's not a complaint against you. It's just people are coming, they have their jobs, they think about their thing 24 hours. So give them time to realize what you're doing, and even explain to them, even if you think it's very logical, it's very clear what I'm doing, still explain it to them and share your passion. I think also oftentimes people do not necessarily invest in what we're doing, but in who we are. And so if they realize who you are, what your vision is, why you did something the way you did it, you go into storytelling, and people can follow your thoughts, they can follow your story. And if they hang up your painting at home and their guests come in, they can tell a story, exactly the story you share with them the first time you meet them, and they can fill up their dots why they bought the painting. So communicate as much as possible about what you're doing, why you're doing it, why you chose a certain technique, where you're coming from with your thoughts. That's really what makes the difference, I think, in the end.
Yeah, so it's more than just a painting or an art piece.
Absolutely.
It's the whole personality and the passion and the process behind it.
That's right.
And finding a channel to communicate that and to connect your art with the art consumer, the art buyer.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and also entering a conversation with the person you're talking to, because it will be interesting for an artist to find out what certain people are thinking about it, because your painting may release certain thought patterns that you would have never thought of possible, or you will be surprised what inspiration your piece will bring to someone. And so you can learn again from that and use it even in the next conversation again.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Do you have a tip how you can do that conversation?
I think what I learned is I try to ask as many questions as possible. So if I'm going into a conversation, I really make it about the other person. So if we're standing in front of my work, I would say, like, what do you see? What does that release in you? And then they start to talk, and just leading them through it with questions, because whenever we ask someone something, they feel valued, they feel important. And I think as soon as they feel valued and important, they start to talk, and you will find out a lot of things.
Great, some good insights. And then you had 2 more wonderful tips for us.
That's right. Insights. So making business a priority is number 1, and then number 2 for me is really also get help. So don't be too
I'm an artist.
That's right. Get help. And just recognizing that you can't do everything by yourself, but also you don't have to do everything by yourself. So I know where I'm good at, and I think a lot of people do. and I also know what I can't do. And so wherever I'm in an area, I know I'm not the best choice, I'll ask somebody else. Because there's so many people out there that have different passions, different abilities, skills, that are happy to help. And so really get help and create this symbiosis of people who are experts in their fields, because this will allow you to, in the end, really have an excellent business if you connect experts.
So actually reaching out, accepting help and finding help.
Absolutely. Yeah. This will also save you a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of nerves. Because whenever you're not good at in a field, and if you also are not very eager to learn this field or go into it deeper, it's not fun. So, and you will also not be able to bring out the best of it. So it's way easier and faster to get help.
Yeah. And then I hear some artists thinking, but I don't have money. So how am I going to pay for the help? I mean, I can ask a marketing company to help me with my branding or communication or with my whatever I need to do.
Yep.
But how are there some things that people can do step by step that have limited budget?
Absolutely. I think there are many ways. First of all, I think be creative in how you set up a certain deal. So money does not always have to be part of the deal. I mean, you can pay someone with your art, for example. Why not say, hey, at this point I can't give you money, but do you like something that I have? Or just ask them like, look, if you have like a business, you want a guest speaker, I will come for free and talk about what I'm doing. Try to find a deal, or even I did a deal with a lawyer saying, look, you do everything like the law stuff for my company. And he said, yeah, I'm going to do it, and you only have to pay me if you reach a certain turnover in 3 years.
Oh, that's a good deal.
So this is like very cool, because then you will pay if you have the money, and if you don't reach your goal, he will not get anything. It was his risk, it was your risk. So just try to find a deal that pleases to both parties. And maybe does not involve money.
And the third?
The third one really is less is more. And so be strategic. I think this is really key. So there is a lot of possibilities if it's about marketing. Do it. It's so vast. If you Google and you start about marketing, you have so many experts telling you should do this, you should do that. For every strategy, you find an expert saying this is the best strategy. And all of a sudden, you find yourself doing email marketing, you do Facebook marketing, you do Instagram, you do flyers, you want to do an ad there, and you want to do guest speaking, and you want to do this and that, and you just lose yourself. So really ask yourself, what can I do? What for my business, what brings the biggest impact, and then focus on it. Really do 1 or 2 things really well instead of 5 or 6 things, just a little bit here, a little bit there. I think that's it's key.
And how do you find out what works for you? Because I mean, there's so many possibilities as you just explained. How do you find what's the method that works for your art? Or
that's a good question. I think there is a lot of trial and error. Also in marketing and sales, I don't think there is one way, but you have to be willing to try, and I don't think there is like one answer to that question, but rather be willing to try out different things, and starting with who is my audience, who do I think has the biggest value in getting my art. Who are the people interested? And then when you find this target group, it's going to be easier for you to ask questions like, where are they during the day? What are they doing? What pieces are they reading? What sort of communication are they appealing to? What sort of sentence would they react to? And if you really know this audience, your audience, you will be able to craft your messages for them, and sometimes it may be more effective to just take the phone and make a phone call instead of doing a big marketing campaign, a big Facebook campaign. Everybody is crying for social media at this point, and I think it can be a really good way, but there are also other ways that are still very effective, like phone calls, like emails, like knocking on the door. So it's not one way.
Yeah, and I think that also boils down to less is more. That really making a choice.
Yes.
And really having a focus, and
Yep.
then choosing whatever works with your art. And I think that's the benefit of being an artist. It's a personal journey.
Yes.
It's a personal product.
Yep.
That really has so much communicative value.
That's right.
And then find the method or find the channel that actually works for the art form.
Absolutely.
Specific art form.
Yeah. Also do something that you can identify with. So if whatever you do, try to be in there with your whole heart and with your whole being. So only choose things that you say that makes sense, and I can really see where this is going.
If I hear your story and your tips, it seems like something that's in for the long run. It's not something that's a fast fix that you do it like 1 week and then you're famous.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what the expectation is of an artist and how they can see the futures when they start branding or marketing their art?
I'm absolutely in it for the long run. I think it's important to know that good things, they usually need time. Yeah, in business sometimes you say that 3 to 5 years, that's the time it needs to be be positive, bring in money. So really think about this. Rome wasn't built in a day, and it takes time, it takes perseverance. That's also why I'm a fan, for example, of there are these quotes like or inspirational talks that say put everything in one basket and go for it. And I think sometimes it's maybe wiser to still work part-time, for example, and on the other side build up your arts business. But you have your steady income, so it gives you a certain security, certain flexibility, some time to just pay your bills and also invest in your business, and then try to really drive this down and bring your arts up. But there is nothing wrong about having a side job in the beginning and you're not less passionate if you're not putting everything in one basket from the beginning on. I think it's more a sign of wisdom to maybe do that.
The statistics show us that only 1 in 5 artists, well, this is in the Netherlands, can succeed in their business after an academy study. So they've studied 4 years as artists, they are equipped and they know their art, they have got technical skills, but so few artists actually make it. Can you describe what a successful artist looks like? What are some of the traits or character that really defines a successful artist against a non-successful artist? Or
it's a good question. I think we would have to define what is success in the end, and probably different people would say different things. For me, success is still if you are passionate about what you're doing, and if you're doing it, you feel joy, you come alive, and then making money is only the second step. And I would never place making money before before having joy and feeling alive. So I think that is, your art will always be as healthy as your heart. So rather pay attention to your heart and then go from there. The statistics you mentioned, I think at this point this may be realistic, or realistic may be true, but it's not what is possible. And oftentimes this may also a little bit lay in the setup of education. For example, you go to art school and all you will be taught is arts. It's the same for me. I went to business school and pretty much everything I was taught about was business, but not really how to lead, how to do leadership. So a lot of it is up to the artist itself to be proactive then after school and really get your business knowledge, for example. Yeah, that's the structural issue that may still be in place. But I think as soon as the artists realize, hey, it's up to me to really go into business and to start really to become a salesperson, as bad this may sound to a lot of people, because there is a sort of a negative connotation on sales and salespeople, but sales is really, if we bring it down, it's really about awakening a need in someone to get something, to get your product. So it's if we can realize that it's more about really awaken the heart of the person next to you, I think it sounds way better than just having this picture of someone knocking on your door and want to try to sell you a Hoover or something.
So it's more connecting the desire of a person for what you have to offer, and there's an exchange.
That's right.
And it happens to be money.
Absolutely.
But there's an exchange of passion and exchange of creativity, enriching. So it's two sides to the story. You're also adding value to the person that's buying your art.
That's right.
Not just because you need money, because you need to pay the rent.
That's right.
Yeah.
And one more point I think is that is very important is recognizing that if you want to make business, there are several ways. So a lot of people, maybe they think just like, I want to sell my piece of art, but how about selling also your skills, your insights? How about do consulting? How about teach? How about do some teaching? So you have to you have a lot to offer as an artist. It's not about only your end result, but also the process that you're daily confronted with that other people can benefit a lot from. So why not make part of your business to teach and get paid for it, for example.
So diversifying.
Exactly.
And, defining what you have. So actually having a fresh look at what you have and what you have to offer.
Absolutely.
It's more than just the end product.
Yep.
It's all the steps in between
that
we take for granted as artists, but a lot of people don't have.
That's right.
Or, they need it in their business, even if it's an accounting office. They all need a creative process and need inspiration to get the work done. So that's really added value.
Absolutely.
Nice. Do you have an example of an artist that you've seen taking steps that has become successful or more successful, selling more art? Or?
Yeah, I have a friend of mine actually from Switzerland. Her name is Cornelia Egli. She's basically exactly doing that. She had this vision of and passion of becoming an artist, so she reduced her normal regular job to just 50%. On the other time, she built up a working space for herself. Is renting quite a big space. And is just doing paintings. And so this allowed her to have more time for it while still having a certain income. Now she's going from exhibition to exhibition. She was invited to hang up her art in a company's headquarters where people are just walking the floors and seeing her art, and that gives her visibility and also credibility. And so I think that for me is a great example, and I'm pretty sure that she will be able to put down her regular job to a minimum soon and live from her paintings.
I'll put her details in the notes of the podcast so people can have a look at her art as well.
Yep.
It looks like she really took very concrete steps.
That's right.
Taking business serious, less is more, making choices, communicating her message.
That's right.
And then just like a snowball effect, it just starts rolling.
Yep. Yeah. Also something that they are doing very well, they being her husband and herself, is they really teamed up in this endeavor as a team, wife and husband. So her husband is in business, and he sees himself as a part of her business. So they travel together to these exhibitions. They talk together at the dinner table about what are the methods, how can we sell your art, what are the next steps. So it's not herself just being by herself trying to find something, but it's also a matter of her family, which is I think very nice.
And what do you have with art? Is there an artist that you enjoy, that you admire?
I'm very into local arts here in Switzerland, that I know quite a few people that are painting very well that I like. Like Cornelia said, there is Ruth Truthman that we can maybe put in the details as well.
Sure,
there is Esther Weidman. I think they paint very, very well. I like it a lot. But I'm inspired usually by people that are really proactively taking steps toward their destiny, towards their calling, and really do not only talk about it, but then do it.
Action.
Yeah, exactly.
Action to the plan. Yeah.
That's right.
And then seeing results.
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, you find art important.
Yep.
But can you put in your own words why art is important and why should artists be creating and selling and exposing their work? What function does it have in a culture or society?
I think art has the ability to really connect with your heart immediately. And oftentimes we are a lot in the rationale, we are a lot in the words, in the numbers, and just looking at the painting, it does something with you that is very unique, and that can awaken something in your soul, in your spirit, that can be very uplifting, very inspiring. And so I think the arts has a very important place in society, also in connecting people to themselves. Also, if we talk about a hyperactive child that all of a sudden finds himself dancing, and so releasing his energy and giving space for his movements to say something and to really maybe then also calm down and canalize his energy for then school. That would not be possible without dance, for example. So I think the arts is really, it's a big space that should even be way more important.
Even bigger. Yeah, essential part of living.
That's right.
Expressing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, I know you're a writer, Philip. You have authored a few books.
Well, I have written 2 books. One of it is really about how we can experience God at the workplace, how we can bring heaven down. The second one is focusing on how we can gain influence generally in life. What is the model? What are the characteristics of influence? Yeah, this has really been on my heart for a while. How can we influence society in a positive manner, that lives can be changed for the better?
So besides your own books, do you have any books that you can recommend artists to read to help them grow in making their work more exposed or communicating, finding their clients?
So the main book I would recommend for artists is called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. It's a very, very structured book, but I think it helps artists to bring structure into their thinking and into their work that will support them in arts, but also in business. So that's really something I could recommend.
I'll put the details in the notes of the podcast so people can check it out.
Yes.
And I love quotes. I found quotes, little nuggets of wisdom in a few words. Do you have quotes that you can give the listeners that will help them?
Yeah, I mean, I like quotes a lot. One of my favorites is actually from Seth Godin, saying, "You are more powerful than you think you are. Act accordingly." Really exemplifying that we have to also trust ourselves and be confident stepping out of the boat. You have to step out of the boat to walk on water, and then realizing it's not even that bad, and you can really do it.
So the potential, that there's so much more potential in people.
That's right.
Just need to take the steps to get out.
That's
right. And sometimes out of the boat thinking you can drown, but you may just be surprised that you can actually walk on water.
That's right.
And do amazing things.
Yes.
Yeah. So thanks for your insights.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. And where can people find you? What's your details? What's your perfume or your own website?
You will find me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with you. Just send me a message that you're an artist or whatever. I'm sure Sonia will share my details on the page. You can send me an email if you like to have consulting in this area. I'm happy to help.
Thanks again, Philip, for sharing these valuable insights, helping artists sell their art. I love your 3 golden rules about taking business seriously, and that it's more than just sales or a big black hole, but it's about awakening a desire in people for your work and sharing the value that you have to offer, and about asking for help, thinking creatively of how to connect with people who can help you in areas in which you are less efficient. And that less is more, and that in the overwhelm of social media and marketing possibilities, that it's important to try out different things and choose a way that works for you. Doing one or two things well and doing this consistently is far more effective than trying 100 things and doing them ineffectively. So be encouraged. You and your art are important. Take little steps in finding your art audience and start to communicate your heart and selling your art. Believe that there is an audience waiting to see your work and ready to listen to what you have to say. To help you take these steps, I've prepared a special free worksheet for you to download. I know the questions and answers will help you to get a better understanding of how you can be more effective in selling your art. You can download it on www.soniasmallhere.com/sellingart. For more about Philip, his perfume and his contact details, the book and the quote that he mentioned, and the details about the artists mentioned, you can scoot over to my website and have a look. And please don't forget to share this podcast and leave a review on iTunes or on whatever platform you hear it. This makes the podcast more visible and helps other artists find it. Remember Philip's quote, "You are far more powerful than you think. Now is the time to act accordingly and get your art out there and start selling it." Thanks again for listening. Until next time. Bye for now.